This is the South Florida Radio Network.
You wanted to see me, Joe?
George! Ho, 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 come in, come in. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the prestigious BBGI boardroom.
I'm bored already.
Ho, ho! Have a seat, George. I think it's time we had a chat. Let me walk to the other side of this table here. Ho, ho, ho. George, the world is an ecumenical school of sports. There are no religions. There are no politics. There are no women. There are no movies or music to speak of. There is no sex. There is only the Miami Dolphins, the Miami Heat, the Marlins, self-aggrandizing coaches, and brainless monotone athletes for closet-gay men to worship and admire. And you have meddled with the primal forces of sport-ho genitalia! And you will go home.
Am I getting through to you, George?
Why me?
Because you're on the radio, dummy.
It's Fatwa Friday, you bastard.
But I'll tell you what, good brother, I would rather listen to you fart and hear a pretty girl sing. Don't ever do it.
We, the Congress, in order to form a more right-wing union, establish more roles and cut funding for public TV. Provide more money for our defense. Abolish pro-choice and welfare and show the blessings of liberty to ourselves and all those who agree to ordain and demolish all those left-wing liberals from the United States of America. Lick me new.
SoFloRadio.com. Filling the radio void.
Mr. Bob Fuchs, founder and president of the FFA.
The Lord above is angry at what he's hearing on the radio airwaves today. All of us good Christians here at the Fistfuckers Association are doing our part in absorbing the evil sins incurred on the radio. Why, every time we hear what we define as an obscenity, we thrust our fist into a follower's butt. Like today, for instance, I heard the word crap. You know what that means. It's your turn, Reverend Kennedy.
Oh, not again.
We must do the work of the Lord.
Okay.
Now it's my turn. We urge you not to patronize the sponsors of these radio heathens. Please visit our website at www.fistfuckingchristian.com. And remember to fist fuck for Jesus. Fist fuck for Jesus. Fist fuck for Jesus. Fist fuck for Jesus.
Hey, getting stoned in South Florida. Just kidding.
Feeling down in blue? Try all new Dublin Gold. Green stems, brown seeds, yellow chafe. Surprisingly hallucinogenic.
Oh, that's really cool, man. Hey, is that ground up clovers?
Straight from the pastures of County Cork. We call it County Cork cannabis.
Hey, man, this stuff is great. Is that a leprechaun on the ceiling, man?
Why, it is. And there's another one, and another one, and another one, too.
Hey, I think you're right, man. The place is crawling with them.
Try all new Dublin Gold. Surprisingly hallucinogenic.
FDS. You've used it. You've trusted it. And now you're going to love it. Introducing new FDS Roll-On, the first roll-on feminine deodorant.
I use FDS Roll-On right out of the shower. At the gym, every chance I can get.
New FDS Roll-On has a unique rotating ball that fits your every nook and cranny. So you smell good and feel great.
At the office, on the bus, in any kind of large crowd. Well, I just whip out my FDS Roll-On and have a ball.
FDS Roll-On and new FDS Solid in a big, thick stick. Feeling fresh has never been so much fun. SoFloRadio.com. Filling the radio void.
In the forest, the quiet forest, the rabbit sweeps tonight. I sneak wide up, I get him tied up beneath the pale moonlight. My gun is ready, my hand is steady, I've got him in my sight. Don't wanna kill him, just wanna dwell him. I hope he's nice and tight. As I weem away, 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 I weem away. I weem away, 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 I weem away. I wipe my dipstick up on his whipstick and thank him for the dance. But he's no weighty, he's white Ned Beatty in the river ends. As I weem away, 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 I weem away. I weem away, 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 I weem away. That's what I call splitting hairs.
What's up, Tom? This is the South Florida Radio Network.
Wow, that was an awesome open there, and I'm glad the ocean sounds were part of that bit, man. I thought I was going a little bit nuts. How's it going today, Boca Brian? Do I not have you? Maybe he went to pee or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. He might have. Maybe that's why he played all those things, because he had to run out and go take a pee. In any event, I don't want to waste any time because Mitch Lewis's schedule is very tight today. He's about to jump on the road. And I finally, after 2 weeks of trying to get him on, we're going to get him on right now, today. As soon as I figure out why I'm not here in Boca Brian. Well, we'll deal with that. We'll do something. I don't know. Everything's all connected. Calling. I don't hear anything. You there, Brian?
Oops.
Why isn't nothing working today? Calling. It's calling. Nobody's picking up.
The spell has started.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, we got Khalib coming in today, and she's already laying some voodoo on us. Although it's not called voodoo, it's called Obia, Opie. And nothing's working. Nice! I'm sure glad I waited and didn't post that yet. I was just this close to posting that. Hey, Mitch Lewis is going to be calling. I just spoke to him on the phone right now. Waldman, holy shit, found a picture. Randy Rhodes is great. Yes, thank you, Walt. Found the picture, shaved back heads. This is old information, old knowledge. What's going on with all my crap today? Is Skype down again? Is Skype not working? Hello, Boca Brian? Hello, Mitch Lewis? Nothing. Ain't this wonderful? Ain't this nice? I guess we need help. Hello? I got a fax machine now.
This is a test of the emergency broadcast system.
That was Mitch. Call me back, Mitch. Jesus. Did I get the number right? Yeah. Obviously not.
You hear me now?
Oh, I hear you now. Awesome. Well, that's one load off. Man, having a heart attack.
I've got to reboot the studio computer because somebody was doing things.
Oh, no. Gremlins?
Lock that. Yeah,
lock
that thing so I can...
Lock that studio door.
Reboot.
Oh, somebody was doing something on that computer?
Yeah.
Was it you?
I have access to it, but it's locked.
I don't understand. Okay. All right. Well, nobody ought to be using it. And thank you, whoever's calling the line checking right now. Let me try.
I just put the description in.
Oh, yeah. Well, it must be a bad thing. Do it on this one, then. We can.
I won't do it no more.
Don't do anything on there. This is the number to call.
Now to shut it down. Just shut it down, Mark.
All right.
This is Mitch.
Mitch Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, the great Mitch Lewis. Now I can Facebook it. I can tweet it that you're finally on the show. How's it going, man?
What an introduction. Hi, George. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. How awesome to hear your voice. It's always, rich and creamy. You ought to charge people to talk. Oh, wait, you do.
You're not getting charged for this, George.
Thank you. No, I feel very special. That's I'm grandfathered in. Mitch Lewis. I'm so special. Mitch will let me hear his voice for free. It's kind of like phone sex, but not as sexy.
You're silly, man, and you don't need a paper towel when we're done.
No, well, maybe for a little bit of the drool, but that's another story. I won't tell you how excited you get me. How's it going, Mitch Lewis, out there? And is it L.A. where you're at still?
Yeah, I'm in Burbank. I just got up a little while ago, and I'm having a cup of coffee and a cigar sitting on my porch.
So this is Mitch Lewis's morning voice, a rare treat, ladies and gentlemen. You normally have to sleep with him to hear this kind of voice. Rich and creamy coffee voice. Mitch is great. Everybody, this is all part of the ongoing Neil tribute that we've been doing. We have a few stragglers that we have yet to hear from, and I'm really glad to be able to take you off the list. You go way back. The audience that's listening right now, of course, is the core Neelies. They've been listening to these tribute shows that we're going, and I don't have to explain you to them. Maybe some of the new people. We play with Mitch's rectum all day long for some of the people that don't know what's going on. And some great classics. I got most of them. I guess I'm going to have to talk you into sending me a disc of Mitch Lewis's greatest hits, because I already have one around here somewhere. You should see the boxes, the piles of boxes that I salvaged from, all the years in radio. I'm a pack rat. I took all that stuff with me, and somewhere in one of those piles is a disc that you made for me with Mitch's great stuff. But there's some things that we can't find, like the I-95 song, the 8 Days a Week. Remember that?
I have.
Yeah,
you do have that. Well, what are we missing, Boca Brian?
Well, I'm missing personally the Chronic from Luz.
Oh yeah, and I don't have that either for some reason.
Brian, first of all, hello, Boca. How are you?
Hey, Mitch. Hi. It's nice to hear from you again. It's been what? I haven't seen you since like 4?
90 years.
Yeah.
Say that again. What's the question?
How long has it been since you guys spoke?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think the last time I spoke to Boca was when I was trying to do that covert bit against fat-ass Hank Goldberg.
You mean my good friend Hank Goldberg?
I think you were in the middle of trying to sell
that. He and I, there's no love lost between the two of us, but not because of me, but because of him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it was Boca's ponytail, Mitch Lewis and his ponytail.
Right.
And Hank and I were having big trouble, and I wanted to do the What is Pudge?
Right.
What is Pudge? So I wrote it, and I knew that I couldn't produce it. For one, I didn't have the music because that was all Boca stuff. And then, secondly, that I'd get fired if they found out.
Right.
They said, any trouble from either one of you two, and one of you's out of here. I called Boca, and I said, you got to do me a favor. He's like, what's that? You got to record this bit. He's like, well, why don't I just send you the music? I'm like, no, you don't understand. So I sent him, I gave him the lyrics, and he knocked out one of my favorites. What is Pudge?
So that was your doing.
What are you missing? I don't know what you're missing. I'd have to go through the list. You'd have to send me what you think you're
we'll do that.
It's better with another classic. That was a collaboration.
There is?
What's that?
Nobody Does It Better was another collaboration with Anna Maria, you, and it was back when you were doing the show, Anna Maria.
I've forgotten about that. Yeah.
Nobody rips you better. Which do we have that? Did we find that ever? I know we started looking for it.
My computer, yeah, I do have it.
Is it in poor taste to do Neil's dead?
No.
Neil's dead. Let's go back to bed. You know?
No, I think you should do it. Neil always had a sense of humor. I'm sure he still does. Let's see if we can get him to roll over in his ashes. He's been divided. He's been divided up in 3 parts for the people that want to know what's going on there. His ashes. He was cremated, and they divided him up in thirds, so that everybody gets a souvenir. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really. Just so you know. Oh, Eric found Chronic from Lutz. Thank you, Eric. It's he had it archived or something, so we have it. Great. Now all we need is
that was one of those bits where the content wasn't, didn't really match the quality of the music.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was a classic fusion.
It was one of those bits where that music could have really gone on to be a real song, not just a comedy bit.
I always regarded it as a real song. It was very musically good. You on your guitar there, and I complimented you then. That how did you time it out? You must have just been playing along to the call, and said, "This is enough right here. I'm coming back now." Because it doesn't sound like you made a bed and then it just so happened to fit the length of the call. You had to sit there and play along with the phone call when you created that, no?
I'm sure what appeared to be like just magical was a ton of hard work in editing.
Right, that's a lot of the stuff. So we're remembering our experiences with Neil. A lot of what we're trying to do here is let everybody tell their stories of how they encountered Neil in the first place, either when they first heard of him, what their initial thoughts were, and how they wound up being the important part of the show that they eventually became, and that certainly applies to you as much as anyone.
Well, for me, I mean, I grew up in South Florida, so I've been aware of Neil being on the air. But it wasn't until I actually got into radio and was working with Neil at IOD when it was IOD GTR. I was a production assistant to Scott Chapin for GTR and for IOD. And so I was sitting in, a little 2-track studio at the time, sitting there doing dubs and tags and all that good crap. And, Neil was on IOD, so I just would listen to him in the Q speaker while I was working. And it just sort of happened that, an idea came to me listening to the show, and I just knocked out a bit. And I ran it in, and I gave the card to Neil, and I explained it to him a little bit during a commercial break, and he kind of, gave me that look and, get the fuck out of my studio. Can I sit down here?
What was the first thing you did? Do you remember?
It was probably a drop. I don't really remember what it was. It was probably, actually the first thing I ran into him was probably a bit that Chapin and I did for GTR, which was the Wojak, the husband autolocator bit.
Right.
I think he really enjoyed that, and I kind of really got off on Neil praising me on the air.
Sure.
And,
who didn't?
Exactly.
I remember.
Because, it was so cruel the way he could slice your ass whole, so, that hurt for days, but, it was all in good fun. But when he praised you, oh, my God. It was like the clouds opened up and somebody said, okay, you're validated as a human.
When I got there, when I showed up there, Chapin was still the production director. You were kind of understudying under him. But to me, it was one of those cases where the much more talented person was you. I mean, we got.
Well, I can't agree with that because Chapin is an amazing talent.
Well, I don't want to take anything away from him, but I got the Herman and McBean, the yada 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 CD. We've been playing, bits from that. The comedy level of those bits really can't hold a candle. I'm sorry. It was okay. Jamaican bobsled, yeah. You created some bits that were anthem-like and classic. The Song of Hope is one of my favorite. I don't know if you want to even call that comedy. I guess it is, but to me it speaks to my soul. It touches me deeply.
I just want to interrupt you because because I really deal well with praise.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that in all honesty, I really do well with praise. But and I appreciate your comments. And I think you're right. But
good, I know I am.
But it just was. I didn't know what I was doing. Basically, that was the beauty of it all. Is that I just kind of went into it with, just the desire to do something to somebody. I didn't care if they laughed at the bit. I didn't care. I liked it better when I upset people.
Okay.
One of my favorite things I did on the air was a commercial for I think it was LoJack, where it was the hey lady and banging on her window and breaking her window and where we actually had people threatening not to listen to the station anymore and clients pulling. Yeah. It was a spot where this woman's getting into her car and it's late at night and you hear footsteps and hey lady running and she slams her door and he's banging on the window and then the window breaks and
people bitched about that, man. Some people have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Are you scared me?
I have a great Neil story that I just it's one of those stories that just really stuck out in my mind.
You want it? Please share.
You remember the old station? It was for people who've never been there. It was kind of like a long main hallway that had a bunch of little doors on either side, and you could walk down the hallway and you could look through the control room window into the studio window to see what was going on with Neil and the guys. And I'm walking down the hallway, and Scott Chapin stops me. He's standing in front of the control room window. He goes, "Come here, you got to see this." So I stop, and I look, and he goes, "Look at this. You'll never see this ever again on the radio."
Okay.
And I'm like, "What's the big deal?" And he goes, "A fag, a cripple, a blind man, a retard, and a fat man, all eating sliders and watching porn on the radio." And it was Neil. It was the Bird.
Right.
Fat Rich, Blind Mike.
No.
And Gilbert.
Oh no. Gilbert was allowed in the studio? What was the special occasion for that?
Here's this group of people, doing a radio show, watching porn, eating burgers. Chapin and I were dying.
He's right. He's right. I've been in radio 100 years.
Radio,
Never.
A cripple, a fat man, a blind guy, and a retard eating hamburgers, watching porn on the radio.
Yeah, that was definitely before I joined the show there, because I don't remember that scene, man. Gilbert was not allowed in the studio under penalty of death. Neither was Blind Mike either. I guess he ran his course. But that's true. That's why
that must have been Marvin Robin days then.
Or Nick Lawrence. Those must have been in the very early days when Nick was the producer.
Yeah, you're right. That might have been Nick.
We've been going through the history over here. That's one of the reasons I had to get back into radio. I was making good money repoing cars and radio like a scabby fat whore, saying, "Come on, you want back in here." And it's true. It's a disease that some of us have, wanting to be inside there. It's because of things like that.
George, somehow, I don't know why, but you made that scabby fat whore sound bad, and I know how you really feel about that.
She has a point, that scabby whore. It's like, you love me, come back.
Don't hide from who you really are. I know. You've got nipple clips on right now, I know.
Oh, yeah, not just on my nipples. Go ahead, just tell everybody. Mitch created a lot of the classic bits. You were an inspiration to a lot of people. People like Boca Brian, they really were jealous because there it is.
Your hair.
That's coming up.
The Song of Hope, I love it. It's one of my favorites.
I did that bit for Rick and Suds. I originally did that bit for Rick and Suds, and God, that's one of those bits that comes from somewhere else, because it was the rare occasion where I didn't have any inspiration for a bit other than to create a bit.
Right.
So I went in, and normally, like I do, I'd have Neil on in cue, just and also I would take one of the 2 tracks of 1/4-inch tape, and I would just roll it on really slow speed and just record his show in cue.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was something that happened that I needed to grab, like a caller or something like that, like with the Chronic from Loops,
right,
I would have it. And it was just kind of like, this like secondary activity that was going on during all this other stuff. So I sat down at the computer, a little old Mac SE, and I was just starting to write, and I just wrote the first line, and it was like, you wake up in the morning and your breath smells bad, and that basically wrote itself within 15 minutes.
It definitely sounds like it wrote itself. That's why I think, for me, it speaks to my soul and a lot of other people. Whenever it comes on, I don't care how many times we played it, whenever it came on, I stopped the person talking who was in the studio so that I could sing along and, kind of rock back and forth the way that some people do at a Grateful Dead concert, which is not me, because I like Mitch Lewis, not the Grateful Dead. But
George, if you're holding up a Bic lighter, I'm out of here.
Guess what? I'm holding up a giant Bic lighter. You don't know. Here, I'm webcamming this whole thing, so I have to make good on my promise here. Giant Bic lighter.
Here's a
bird.
Here's a top tripper for Mitch. Ready?
1, 2. You're going to Los Angeles, kiddo. 3. All right. 4.
My dream of life is to go to California, and I'm freaking out.
5.
Scott Evan Paul.
Great.
Boy, I'll bet you're just a little prick, huh?
6.
Great.
7.
Thanks a lot.
8.
Beth, you're going to L.A.
Great.
9.
Hooray!
Congratulations to all the winners of our ultimate L.A. party weekend. Rock Around the World Trip 11. And get ready. Rock Around the World Trip 12 is right around the corner from 97 GTR.
Wow. There's a blast.
Right.
I like that.
Boy, those were some times, boy. That was when radio was real. That was before all the corporations owned everybody. And we could, we had real wars. I mean, I remember Herman and McBean and everybody getting in the GTR van and showing up at a Zeta morning remote, and Skip Herman climbed on their van and broke their Yagi antenna. and they were putting literally, he climbed up and snapped off a fin off the Yagi antenna, and everybody was putting GTR bumper stickers all over their van. I mean, it was like the old. I mean, I remember we had this like guerrilla crew we used to call the Con Crew is what it was, and we'd go at night to other stations' appearances at clubs. And we'd go in, and there'd be like 20 of us, all in GTR shirts, and we'd go in with swag, all kinds of crap. And we'd go in, and here'd be like their talent was saying, coming up later, we're giving away T-shirts and a chance to win a hat. And they'd make the people in the bar wait, and here'd come the GTR crew, and in like in under a minute, everybody had at least one thing from our station. So that was the kind of kind of radio it was back then. And it was the same thing applied with IOD, you know. I mean,
sure.
It was war out there.
It was war, and they had the snooze cruise. I remember when we went from one station to another, me and the bunch of QAM people had to raid the WIOD studio so that I could get my cabinet and all my production supplies and everything out of it, which sits right over here, by the way. I salvaged it, took it from station to station, but we did, and it was appreciated. I keep reminiscing, and we've shared a lot with people that used to work there, and we really enjoyed the fact that management, and we complained about it then, man, you don't know what you got till it's gone. I can't remember any other time when management was as much on the side of leaving the talent alone to do the magical thing that we're doing, because when you're number one, you can say that. And Gary Bruce, even though we had friction, he would defend us to other people in the building. Those guys are crazy. They're doing crazy things. And Gary would say, we're number one. Leave those crazy bastards alone.
George, anytime somebody tells you it's not about the money, they're a fucking liar.
Right.
So as long as there was revenue coming in from spots and the ratings were high,
right,
they were letting us do what we do, right?
No question.
Good for them.
I already told the story before, but now while you're here, I'll tell it to your face. The bridge tender, if we ever did take a poll, and we keep threatening to do that, Boca Brian, maybe we ought to at this point. What's your favorite Neil Rogers bit? The bridge tender, which wasn't originally called that, might win, might not. 50-50 chance if that bit's going to win as far as the greatest.
That is a.
What is it?
I don't know if you can call that a bit.
I don't know, but Neil would play it as a bit, a phone call. It was on a cart. We called it a bit.
Well, we actually edited it down. He came in and said, we got to make this short because I want to run it more regularly.
Well, I was in there just dropping up stupid, idiotic jerk, and you said the whole thing was funny and that I should cart up the whole thing. And so it was in your studio that thing got carted up.
Didn't we do the stupid jerk?
We did. We made a whole bunch of stuff out of it, but I wasn't going to cart up the whole phone call, and you're the one that told me, that whole thing is funny. You should cart that up and give it to Neil, and I go, at the time I went like, okay, because, it's Mitch. And
I remember that. That's when you'd sit after the show and you just kind of listen to the tapes looking for a promo, right?
Right, but I was in the studio that day. Somebody was in the public production room, and I came into your room, as I do every once in a while, with my hat in my hand and say, I know that I'm not even worthy to be in this room, but can I use your reel-to-reel and cart deck for just 5-10 minutes so I can cart this up, because I got to go home and I got to cart this up before I get out of here. And you were always very nice, but you didn't just leave me alone. You stuck your creative fingers in there, which in your case was a good thing. And yeah, we did that stupid, idiotic jerk. You did that with the little, I don't know what that's called, the echo sizer. You also recorded me doing Macbeth's soliloquy and echo-fied it, whatever that thing is called.
Well, actually, back then we didn't really have there was computer editing in the 8-track studio, but everywhere else we were still using grease pencil and blade. So that jerk was just a series of edits, really.
Right. I forgot all about that, but yeah, those were the beginnings of computer.
You had the voice emulator too at the time.
Do you know what? Now that I think about it, it was one of my favorite moments, and it's not even really that great. But Neil was about to go on vacation, so he came in to record his live spots with me. So he's sitting in that 4-track studio that was right by the IOD control room, or by the studio. And I'm behind the board, Neil's on the other side, he's got all the scripts, and we're just, knocking them out one at a time, and just everything was very civilized and very, Neil, and when you got him on your own, he was one of the most gentle, genteel, kind, sweet, considerate men you'd ever want to meet. And so we're sitting there doing spots, and all of a sudden Steve Kane, hi, this is Steve Kane for La Dome, coming for the most succulent, mouth-watering garlic potatoes. This is Steve Kane, and I've racked up more free meals than anyone in the known world. Anyway, Steve Kane comes walking in right in the middle of one of Neil's spots we're recording. And Neil, and I got mad, and I turned and I said, Steve, you idiot, did you see the lights on? Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know, so-and-so. And then he shut the door, and Neil goes, like, asshole. And I go, jerk. And he goes, shithead. And we just went back and forth for it must have been about 10 to 12 seconds. And without even breaking a smile, we just looked at each other, and we're just going back and forth. I don't even know if you still have that.
I don't know. No, recording of that? No. I don't think I ever heard that.
It was called.
That would be a gem. Yeah. We're finding a lot of stuff. I salvaged as much as I possibly could because I'm a pack rat anyway. I'm one of these people, if I wasn't so organized, I'd live in a house of clutter. and maybe to an extent I do. But all this audio stuff, all these things, I knew that there would be value for them. I didn't think that it would come up so soon. I didn't think that we'd lose them so soon.
That you'd need to do a tribute show this early.
No, I thought
it was a shock to me. I didn't find out till like Christmas, I think. My wife came in and told me that Randy was talking about it on the air.
Yeah. We had her. We had everybody. We had Rick Riley on a couple times, Chuck Meyer. We had Jennifer Rem on, all the greats.
Wow.
Yeah. Bob Green.
Bringing up Bob Green.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
He was at the service. He's looking good, man. He's all retired and rich now. Bob Green.
You know, I'll tell you, there was something that happened in those years. I remember I did a bit. Remember that security guard that like hit those kids in the nuts when they were skateboarding through the mall?
Yes.
That bit almost disappeared forever because I decided because it was a big topic of conversation, so I decided to do to the Brady Bunch theme. So I threw together some crappy version of the Brady Bunch, through the emulator and guitar and whatever I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote the bit, and it was, here's a story about Officer Nolan, who was busy working security in a mall or whatever it is. And then, he saw it, and it's cracking him in the nuts, cracking him in the nuts. That's the way Officer Nolan cracked him in the nuts. And I put it on a card. I was so proud. I went walking in the studio. I threw the card on the board. He just looked at the back of it, looked at me with that look.
Mm-hmm.
Came out of break. Right out of break, he fired the card off. The bit ended. He didn't even wait for the cart to queue up. He stopped the cart, pulled it out of the deck, ripped the label off, and threw the card at me across the room. And I'm like, I just spent an hour and a half, 2 hours putting this shit together, and I'm thinking, all right, finally, I got another one going here, and he whips the thing at me across the room, and he says to me, all right, he's in a break now, because I came back in, after we got in the break, and I'm like, what's going on? He goes, are you fucking crazy? You can't say nuts on the radio? And I'm walking out of there thinking, what the fuck? I can't say nuts, but he can talk about sucking cock all day?
Yes, although you can't say cock unless you're talking about bad cock furniture or something. Unless you're talking
about a rooster.
Cockfighting, right, or a cocktail.
But those times, I don't know. I mean, I guess people do know because...
There was no telling what...
Because of the way, when you think about those times, there was something going on. I mean, it was an energy that we all kind of fed into and we're all a part of.
Right. We had pride. We were, and I didn't realize it right away, but at some point, like halfway through the stint there, and, because the numbers bore it out, and the attention that we got outside of there and the attention we would get from the audience bore it out, we were a part of something special. If you ever been around the country, and some of us have been, there was no such thing as an AM station dominating the ratings all day long like we did, where it was as much a part of the community as we were, where everybody was a part of it, and everyone in the media, everyone on television, all the newspaper writers, they were all glued to it. So it really was a hub, just a big common, like a Central Park or a common place, like the town's big gazebo where everybody got together. That was especially apparent after Hurricane Andrew when we doubled our ratings and we became everyone's interactive information station for gouging reports. We got information, we disseminated it. It was obviously the community's radio station, and we earned it. We deserved it. We took pride in our work. We helped each other out. We were good to each other. Other places, and I went from there to another radio station. Mitch, the culture was as opposite as you can imagine it, because I went from IOD to QAM. And there was none of that. None of that pride in work and craftsmanship. Like we would compliment each other's on each other's. Is that English? We would compliment each other on how tight somebody carded something up. Like, wow, that was a really tight cue, man. No dead space. That fired right away. It didn't overcue. It didn't make a noise when it queued up. That's some nice cart. Little things. We would compliment each other. If somebody cut a promo and it was funny and it was exactly 30 seconds, you went and sought that person out and said, man, how'd you get that down to 30? I heard that call. It was like a minute and a half. How'd you make a tight 30 out of that? Those kinds of things, we impressed each other.
You were so easily impressed.
Yeah, well, these were huge things.
Oh, my God, you're in radio, and you made a spot that went 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, well, other people, I went to a place where they didn't know what a clock was, Mitch. Okay? I went to a place where a sundial would have confused these people. They talked about the games men played and the smell of their taint, and because they made me the production director for like 7 months. Basically, what your job was, 7 months of hell, a nightmare, a living, waking nightmare. Because they wouldn't bulk the carts. They would just record over the cart, and I would take it back to whatever Schmendrick carted that thing up, and I said, dude, you didn't use the ELSA. You didn't cart this thing up. I hear 2 commercials playing at the same time. What's wrong with you? And they looked at me like I was shining a spotlight in their eyes. Blink, blink. You could hear the blinking sounds. They didn't understand any of the words I was saying. Elsa, what? Is she the Borden cow? What are you talking about? They didn't, like, they would queue their carts up so loose you could drive a truck through it. It was loose. It was sloppy. Everything was wrong. None of the shit worked. And I tried to talk to somebody about it, and they looked at me like I was an asshole. What are you causing trouble for? You're just a dingleberry on Neil's ass. What are you doing coming in here and asking us to do things differently? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Like night and day, man.
Well, I would tell you what, when Neil went over there, I was just glad he was still on the air. You know, I mean, I didn't give a shit if he was in a Winnebago, you know, in Liberty City, as long as that voice was on.
Right.
When Neil came on the air and you heard the Neil Rogers Show begin, it was kind of like you knew that the things were still okay in the world. You know.
Right on.
For me anyway, he gave me that sense of, like, you know, and with Neil it was, God, you know, to find a sharper man, a more intelligent man, and I'm not just talking about book knowledge and that kind of crap. I'm talking about a man who would predict the future, not even realizing it. It was like he would say things, and then like 3 or 4 days later, with no indication that would happen, that would happen. And he'd nail people on the head. And the thing about Neil is he didn't give a, you know, I'm telling you, but he didn't give a shit. I mean, when he hit that air, that was his kingdom. You came into his environment. You better fucking bring something to the table, because if you didn't, he was going to cut you an ass, man. And I loved those years.
Oh, that was an awful sounding thumping sound. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
and I was just about to ask him what he's doing now. I hope he didn't run out of time. Maybe the meter ran out. I could call him back, because we have that ability. No, I need closure on that story. Well, I mean, he was just talking about Neil. We have these amazing powers here, thanks to the computer world. Unless he just fell out over there.
That's one of my favorite things is when I get done with what I think is a really great story, and your phone rings.
It was great.
Where did I lose me?
You hit a nice post. Actually, you were just talking about when Neil goes on the air, that's his arena, and you better bring it. And he didn't care, and he wasn't. He was fearless. That's one of the things that I learned a lot from Neil about how to do radio and how to do talk. I wish I could learn his fearlessness. You understand? Because there's no question that what he did, he owed it to that. He couldn't do the kind of shows that he did if he were really concerned about what people thought. He obviously didn't. He just did the best kind of show that he felt like doing.
What radio personality, in pretty much, you probably can count them on 2 or 3 fingers, that every day ripped a hole in management?
Right.
I mean, he talked about the Cox sisters. You remember?
Sure.
I mean, man, you'd listen to Neil and you'd just be like, it was like like someone was touching your dick. You know, it was like it was like that. It was like anything can happen at any moment, and I don't know what this is, but I don't want it to stop.
Right. Right on. No, it was very good, and we were all really lucky. I think it's like part of a fraternity, but not the gay kind, where you have to get down to your underwear and get spanked with a paddle. Which was ironic.
Oh, I remember that night, George.
Oh, yeah? Well, I don't. That's how drunk I was.
Yay.
So you're in L.A. now. You moved over there. You've been doing this high-profile voiceover work. Why don't you tell the audience that for the people that don't know? I hear your voice on things now and then, especially because you send me emails letting me know when and where you're going to be on. You're doing a lot of documentaries and things like that.
Yeah, we moved out here in March of '99, and excuse me.
Not at all.
And basically, we came out here with, sold the house in Miami, moved a wife, 2 kids, a dog to Los Angeles without an agent, just because I just believed that, this is what I was supposed to be doing. And it was a monumental effort to, move a life. I had a job, I was working, I was making money. I didn't need to come out here and do this, but I just felt compelled. So I came out here, and I got lucky. I immediately came out here and was taken on by ICM Talent Agency, and started doing promo for ABC and CBS, and I've done trailer, and I've actually got 3 video games that I'm on are coming out.
Wow.
Guild Wars 2, I'm a major character. Thor, I'm a major character, and Fallout New Vegas, major character. So
really?
The funny thing is, I've done about 6 or 7 video games over the years, and I've never heard myself on any of them because I don't have the patience to sit and play the game. Usually I'm a bad guy, so you have to fight a few guys to get to me,
Really? Well, every once in a while I'll play one. I haven't played any of those that you mentioned, but you keep telling me which video games you're on. I might just go and play one just to hear your voice.
Incredible Hulk. I'm the biggest badass Hulk, the Ironclad, the Metal Hulk. I play him, and I also play like the computer voice on that game. I'm also on Baldur's Gate. I'm on.
Baldur's Gate. I played that when I was just a younger adult.
This was Baldur's Gate 2, I believe it was. I've done probably 6 or 7 video games over the years, but I just basically wait for the phone to ring, wait for my agent to call me and send me out on the job. So I'm a voice whore. You call me, I'll go say your words.
Awesome. Can we put Boca Brian in touch with that agency, because he's been looking for some VOs.
And as you know,
I'm no longer with ICM. I'm now with a small agency. I don't know if you ever heard of it. I think they're called William Morris.
Oh yeah, no, never heard of those people.
Yeah, I'm with them now. actually, about 3 years ago, I pursued on-camera acting, and I've been in an ongoing workshop with one of the finest acting coaches on the planet, and I've been in 3 plays, the lead in 3 plays, and did a public service announcement for Santa Monica Pier. It's fun, I'm pursuing the impossible dream. It's like, it'd probably be easier to get myself impregnated and have a fully realized child than it would be to be a successful on-camera actor.
They can do amazing things now with genetics. I would cast you as a villain, because, you kind of look scary ever since you shaved your head.
Yeah, that's a funny story, too. Obviously I was the ponytail guy for 100 years because there were no reflective surfaces in my house.
Just on your head.
But before I came out here, I did this ring announcing. First time I ever did boxing ring announcing. And I got a tux and the whole deal, and I went out and did it. And about a month later, I actually saw the video of me doing the ring announcing. And I saw this, sad man in a tux with this thinning hair, bald, with this long, scraggly ponytail, and I just didn't understand it anymore. So the very next day, I got up and I went looking for a barber or hairstylist, because that obviously for 15 years hadn't been an interest for me.
Sure.
And I went I found this little place by my house, and I went in. There's 2 flaming gay men about 70 years old running the place, scarves and ascots and the whole deal. And in there's about 15 blue hair ladies sitting waiting to get their hair cut. So I walk in, and he says, "Just have a seat, we'll be right with you." So I sat down, and as I'm sitting there thinking, is this where I want to lose my fucking hair virginity with all these blue hairs? So I stood up, and I said, you know what, I'll be right back. And I left.
Okay.
So I'm in my car driving around, and I see this little strip mall, and I look through, and there's this haircutting place, and there's chicks with black hair and nose piercings and the little schoolgirl skirts, and guys with tats and chains coming out of their ass, and I said, yeah, that's where I want to lose my hair. So I went in and I sat down, and the girl said, so what do you want to do? And I said, I want to cut it all off. Give me a number 3 clipper cut. And she went, what? I can't do it. I said, cut it off. I'm cutting it off in a ponytail, because I gave the hair to Locks of Love.
Did you really? I was just going to ask that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was about a 21-inch ponytail from the knot.
Wow.
And I sent it off to Locks of Love right away. So I got this number 3 clipper cut that really wasn't very flattering. I was a bit overweight, and my head looked like a basketball basically at that point.
I'm down to 1
here, and I had the number 3 clipper cut out here for probably about a month or so. So I was in between sessions out in Los Angeles, and I decided, let me just stop and get a quick number 3 clipper cut. So I pulled into this old barbershop. I mean, old-time barbershop, guys sitting at the stove playing cards, if I moved the radio, I could see the actual original color of the table that it was sitting on,
I had one of those. The guy shaved your neck with a straight razor. I missed that. Real traditional.
No, so I said to the old guy, just give me number 3 clipper cut and clean it up in the back, because I had like a DA in the back. So I'm sitting there, I'm not paying attention. So he's done, and he shows me the mirror. Holy shit. He cut my hairline up so high that even with my collar up, it was still showing skin. It was like, it was like a highway patrolman haircut.
Yeah, but that's badass, though.
Yeah, badass. I look like a big ass is what I look like.
No.
So I come home and I said to my wife, oh my God. I mean, I go the rest of the day with 8 inches of skin up the back of my neck and halfway up my head. So the next morning I said to my wife, I think I'm just going to shave it all off. And she started laughing. So I go into the bathroom. I shave half my head. And I come out with the hair side facing her. And I said, baby, where that I turned and she saw the bald head. And she goes, holy shit, no. She really hates my shaved head. And I've had a shaved head ever since that day.
Great. Well,
and you know what? The truth is, George, if I'd have known how much I like this, I would have cut that hair off.
Well, me too. If you remember, people are, and if you look at the Facebook, people are, all these old pictures and videos are resurfacing from the old days, which, as you know, I had a mullet in the early IOD years. Not on purpose.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, George. Really?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't on purpose. I keep hiding behind that. I just had regular old long hair from Montana. When I came down here and asked them to just maintain it, I wanted a feathered, layered 70s cut. I was still stuck in the 70s, even though it was the 80s. I walked out with a mullet, and my wife refused to let me cut the length off. I mean, it was up and down and lengthwise, but she refused to let me cut it. And finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I told him to cut it all off, and I got screeched at. She yelled at me for like a week, until after a week she decided, I guess you look pretty good. Sorry I yelled at you. But that's why I maintained it as long as I did. I wanted that thing gone. I felt like a tool already. I was not, I didn't live in a vacuum. I knew I looked ridiculous. Yeah. But still. So.
Well, that was before she had her whips, right?
No, she always had them. She had her whips long before she had me. I think she had her whips before she had her adult teeth. So she's still
you're such a trip, George, man.
Whipping the shit out of me.
The way you live your life, man. It's just always been you've kind of been like a little shard off Neil, because when I met you were quiet. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously you were who you were. It's just that you were afraid to show anybody for fear of being fired. But but over the time after you became Neil's producer, more and more of that came out, and then you were under the protection of Neil.
Sure. Well, you got to step up also, because it's one way or the other way. You got to, if you're going to be part of the Neil show and that kind of thing, you've got to keep up. You've got to be a part of it. You can't be half-assed, in or out, that kind of thing. So yeah, I was under, and I would tell people that. Well, all kinds of, there were double standards, and people would get fired for doing shit that we would do routinely, and people complained about that. And I said, I work on Neil Rogers Island, and sorry, there's only room for 2. I didn't create that situation. It's not my rule, but that's the way it is. I didn't create these standards. I walked into it. So
I love that fucking cocksucker, man. He was like, there was nobody like Neil, and there's nobody like him,
Nope.
I didn't cry, but you kind of expect this. I saw pictures of him when he came in for something that you guys did at a racetrack or something like that you posted, and I could see how gray and older he was looking, and you kind of if as you get older you expect things to happen, but it still was like, oh shit, are you kidding me? Really? Yeah. No shit. It was
really unexpected.
There was something about, even though I didn't hear him, and I didn't hear his work, and for years he's been off the air and all that, but just knowing that he was somewhere on the planet tearing it up kind of made me feel good about the world,
Yep, no question. I'm looking at pictures now. My Facebook picture is the last picture that we got taken when he did his last appearance at Gulfstream, just not quite a year before he went off the air. And, of course, I hadn't seen him in a long time because he was living in Toronto. And, of course, you don't think that that's the last time you're going to get a picture taken with somebody. You don't think that's that last show that we did. I didn't think that was the last show that we were going to be doing together. It's very strange. And, I didn't think I would be visiting him in the hospital on his death.
How often did you talk to him personally?
A few times. He was up in Toronto and tearing it up, so we talked a couple times. But it's just like when we worked together, we didn't do a lot of socializing because, needless to say, we had very different lifestyles and ideas of fun. So we didn't.
Was he happy? Was he happy at the end? I mean, was he fulfilled? You know, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
It's hard to say.
Did you get a sense of ease from him that he'd done about all he could do?
I got a sense that he, wished that he could have done it for longer because he was going to Woodbine and playing the slots and tearing it up. And I thought that he'd have at least 20 years to blow his money, to have a good time, to travel around. That's what he wanted to do. I got a feeling he wished he could have done it longer. All of us do.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, nobody gets out alive, And
this is true.
And every time, the beauty of it is that, you just got to love the people you love, tell them you love them while they're here. And,
right. And tear it up while you can. That's my, because life is short. Tear it up. I'm on my way to a good time. Don't get in my way. Come with me.
What's that old line about, a dog's priorities? He walks up to something, he smells it, and sees if he can eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can't eat it, he tries to fuck it. And if he can't eat it and he can't fuck it, he pisses on it.
There you go. That's great. I'm going to put that on a shirt. Do I have to give you money if I sell it?
No. Hey, you got that disc way back. I was going to do that comedy bit to raise money for Neil. Send him that bit. You got that disc that's basically all the old night dropping bits.
Right.
I think you have that somewhere. Remember Neil decided he wasn't going to do the charity, so I just sent you the disc. You got that, right?
I got it. I wish I could find it. It's in a box somewhere. God help me. But
I've got stuff all over the place. So if Boca, if you send me a list of what you think you don't have, I'll look for it definitely.
I just sent Boca
and you guys, I mean. I don't have full production studio like I had before, but I still can do my work out of my studio. So if you guys get an idea or you need my help for anything, feel free to call me and I'll contribute any way I can.
You need your help. See if you can introduce Boca Brian to somebody that'll take his work seriously. If he makes a demo, do you think you can put it in someone's hands? Because he's incredibly talented.
For voiceover work?
For voiceover work and production work like that. See if you can introduce him to some William Morris people. There's no one as talented as Boca Brian as far as the different impressions and the kind of things that he can do. And he's also had some VO work and animated things here and there. I'd love to get him on some bigger projects.
Well, Boca, if you want to send something to me, a package of some kind, of course I'll do anything I can to help you.
Excellent.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mitch.
Sure.
New animation cartoons in New York. Back when I knew you.
Yeah, things I heard of. Record of Lodos War. He's famous in geek circles.
Yeah.
That's not the only circle.
But you don't have to sell me, because I basically can't do much for him, But if you get me the package, I'll definitely,
put it in the right hands and say, hey, this, put it in the right hands, the hands of someone that'll actually listen to it, not just throw it in that laundry basket like we had in Gary Bruce's office, where all the demo tapes went.
My hands in the glands of the man.
Mitch, it's great talking to you.
I'll say, and when I think about Neil, I just chuckle, and People don't really know. I mean, most people just only really know what they heard on the radio, and that was a big piece of his alter ego. But the truth is that the guy showed up for work every day.
Yep.
He showered every day. He combed his fucking hair every day. He was prepared. He had material. He came in and they say shit, piss, or get off the pot. Well, he shit, piss, and then he threw up in the fucking pot.
Right on.
And there'll never be another like him. And I really love that guy. And I don't wish him more living. I don't wish he lived longer because he's in a better place right now. And now he's in a place where the fucking is easy, if you know what I mean.
He's immortal to some of us. We're going to do our best to keep his memory alive and take the lessons that he taught us and just keep going with him. If you ever get to this end of the country, Mitch, I'll buy you a meal. We'll go to the Pizza Loft and scotch off with Jeff. We'll actually, he doesn't have a ponytail anymore either. I think that we'll get one of those hats, that has a built-in ponytail, and we'll all just wear one of those.
One for me, one for him, you mean?
Sure, and one for me. I'll get a mullet hat, and we'll all go in there with our old hair.
Right. Well, George, I just thank you for thinking of me when
thank you.
Doing these
I
shows.
think of you often. I'm not going to tell you how often.
To have been able to, speak my mind about that great man.
Couldn't have done the series of tribute shows without you, Mitch. I really appreciate you coming on here.
We got a big Mitch Lewis juicy block of famous bits coming right up.
Excellent.
Boy!
The great Mitch Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. Rectum. Oh, say it live one time.
Rectum, hell, it damn near killed him.
There we go. Now everybody knows where that came from.
And then you got this one. It's Friday, you bastard.
Yes.
God, there's a million of them.
There are a million of them.
We don't have enough time.
Keep going.
Actually, we do. But you don't have enough time. Thank you, Mitch. Don't be a stranger. I gotta keep saying that to people. All right. I'll talk to you later. Mitch Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. 5 till 1 on All Nostalgia Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
Do you know who we are? SoFloRadio.com.
It's the 1 to 2 hour.